Primavera and Scheduling. Training Part 2. Welcome friends. Let's be very clear on our objective, which is breaking the construction project into simple manageable activity and to identify the relationship between each activity. So to understand this concept of scheduling, we will take a sample construction project, and through this simple sample of construction project we will decode all the concepts of scheduling and apply it on the tool which is known as Primavera. So let us see the construction project for which we have to develop a detailed construction schedule in the coming videos. So this is the project which we need to develop in Primavera. So step 1 is identifying the activity.
Cleaning a plot. Site preparation consists of clearing away the trees from your building site. This involves the removal of trees, roots, and other vegetation from the building site.
So here we have seen first activity.
Plot.
Now
Marking of plot should be done as per drawings.
we have seen the second activity. Now the second activity, which is the marking of footing, we need to think that how this activity is dependent upon the first activity. So marking of footing will start after the completion of cleaning. So we can say that marking can be started once the completion of site cleaning is done.
Excavation. A structural engineer will be needed to determine the depth of the excavation.
So what do we do after marking? We do the excavation. Now the question arises, how the excavation is dependent upon the marking of footing. So here we can deduce a logic that once the marking of the first footing is done, we can immediately start the excavation. So the start of excavation is dependent upon the start of marking. So the next day of marking, we can start the excavation.
PCC. After the excavation, the surface is leveled. PCC poured over leveled surface.
Now we have seen the fourth activity, which is the PCC. Now again we have to ask that how PCC is dependent upon the excavation. So for PCC we need to bring a transit mixer, we need to bring a concrete. So once 50% of the excavation is done, we can plan the PCC, and rest 50% of the PCC we can plan once the excavation is completed. So we can say start of a PCC depend upon the 50%
Shuttering
completion.
arrangement for foundation is to be made. Once PCC is done, shuttering for foundation is placed. Foundation bars. Foundation bars shall be laid on the surface. Main bars and distribution bars shall place as per drawing. Reinforcement shall be as per bar bending schedule prepared according to drawing. The reinforcement shifting and binding shall be started as soon as shuttering is completed. Reinforcement binding shall continue as shuttering work progresses. Concrete work in foundation. A foundation is a poured concrete pathway that is used to spread the weight of the building from the foundation to the soil.
Now what do we do after PCC? It's a foundation casting. Again the question arises, how foundation casting is dependent upon the PCC. Once the PCC gain initial strength, reinforcement of footing can be started immediately. So we can say start of a foundation depends upon the start of a PCC.
Shuttering removal. The formwork removal procedure should be supervised by the engineer to ensure that quality of hardened concrete in structural member. That is, it should be free from or has minimum casting defects such as honeycombing, size and shape defects, etc. These defects in concrete influence the strength and stability of structure. Thus immediate repair works can be done or the members can be rejected. Backfilling. Once the foundation is completed, Backfill the remaining excavated area around foundation with soil. Backfill provides stability to the building. A Euro trademark.
Now what do we do after footing casting? We do the backfilling. So now how backfilling is dependent upon the footing casting. Backfilling is done by machine, and to prevent idling of machine, entire backfill can be done in a one go after the completion of footing. So we can say the start of a backfill depends upon the completion of
Beam
footing.
reinforcement shall be as per drawings. Top bars, bottom bars and stirrups to be placed with proper development length. Joints in the beam shuttering should be tight against leakage of cement grout. Construction of shuttering should permit removal of various parts in desired sequences without damage to the concrete. Beam concreting. Beam is poured with concrete with grade mentioned in the drawings.
Now after backfilling we do plinth beam casting. Once the entire area is backfilled, the plinth beam work can be started. As we have seen in the video, we can say the start of plinth beam work is dependent upon the completion of backfilling. Now after that,
Slab concreting. Grade slab requires no reinforcement as it's resting on ground strata itself. Top of plinth beams and grade slab should be at the same level.
now after plinth beam we do the grade slab casting. Now since the grade slab casting is to be done in a single go, so hence the start of grade slab is done after the completion of a plinth beam. Now the next
Column
activity.
shuttering. Column shuttering should be rigidly constructed and efficiently propped and braced both horizontally and vertically, so as to retain its shape. The shuttering should be set accurately to the desired line and levels should have plane surface. Column concreting. After the concreting of footing is complete, immediately in a day or two starters for column should be casted with proper alignment.
So how column casting is dependent upon the grade slab casting? As we have seen, grade slab casting is done in single go. So column casting can be started after the completion of a grade slab. So the dependency is decoded as column casting start after the completion of grade slab. Now the last activity.
Slab shuttering. Beam bottom is first laid on the column and then slab shuttering is laid. Beam. Beam and slab levels should be maintained as per drawing. Beam reinforcement. Beam reinforcement shall be as per drawings. Slab reinforcement. Slab reinforcement shall be as per drawings. Main bars and distribution bars shall be placed as per design. Slab reinforcement should be properly anchored with beam bars. Slab concreting. After the concreting of column, beam and slab concreting shall start monolithically. The top of floor beam and slab shall be maintained as per levels. Slab shuttering removal.
Now it's very interesting to know that how slab casting is not dependent upon the column casting but dependent upon the grade slab casting. So slab staging can be started as soon as the grade slab is casted and gain sufficient strength. So we can say slab casting start dependent upon the finish of grade slab. So till here what you have achieved? Now you have achieved an understanding of this simple construction project in which now you are very clear with the scope and you have divided the project into the various manageable activities, and you are now very clear with the right dependencies, which is the prime essence of any schedule. Now you can proceed to develop a schedule, but before that let us understand the basic concepts of scheduling. And you must remember this, Primavera is just a tool.